Greetings. For this week's prep work, we're taking a look at example 10.3 in the textbook, and I want to walk you through what the question says, but then I want to show you what I mean when I tell you for each example, add the historical forecast and forecasted sales to your table and chart. So the example here is an organic food store carries several food products for health-conscious consumers. For planning purposes, the manager of the store would like to extract useful information from the weekly sales of chef-designed meals for the year. And the data is to the left. We've got 52 weeks of sales, and we've got the weekly sales for each week. So the question asks you, visually inspect the time series to confirm the existence of a trend, estimate and interpret the linear trend model for the sale of chef-designed meals, forecast the sale of chef-designed meals for the next 4 weeks, and then I want you to add the historical forecast and the forecasted sales to the chart that you made in part A. So let's just play with this. So when the textbook asks you, or it shows you an example, it illustrates a chart that looks a little bit like this with red dots, right? Visually inspect the time series to confirm the existence of a trend. There is one. We could insert a trend line, and we can see that it is upward sloping. I want to do something just a little bit different. What I want, instead of having a scatter plot, I want to take sales and let's plot it as a line chart. Give ourselves the crossing bars, lines with markers, and this is what it looks like. Sorry to be particular, but you can probably guess that I don't really like how it looks. Let's get rid of these horizontal lines. Just click on them and remove them. It's a really thick line with really big dots, so I'm going to right click, I'm going to format the data series, I'm going to go to the bucket, and then I'm going to go to my line, and I'm going to make the line smaller, and then I'm going to go to my marker, and I'm going to go to my marker options, and I'm going to make it smaller, and I want that line smaller. Great. Okay, perfect. And so also these are a little bit messy. Let's format these, and under text options we're going to choose the box on the right, and the text direction, instead of being horizontal, let's just flip it on its side. Okay, I feel a little bit better. How about you? Let's add horizontal axes. Let's add vertical axes, labels. This is sales. This is weeks. This is sales of chef designed meals. Great, and we're good. So visually inspect the time series to confirm the existence of a trend. Yeah, that's trending upward. I'm in. Okay, so estimate and interpret the linear trend model for the sale of these chef-designed meals. We're going to use the regression function within the data analysis toolpack. So it's the regression tool, and it wants to know my input Y range, my input X range. It wants to know where I want to put it. But let's just start with our Y range is click on the label for sales, highlight all the sales. And then for the input X range, we're going to highlight all the weeks. I have some other stuff down there that you don't have, so I have to drag down. Click yes, we've got labels. For output range, let's put it in D16. At least that's where I'll put mine. Actually, no, I'm going to give myself some space. I'm going to put it in F16. And then down here under residuals, typically nothing is selected, but I want you to click residuals. And then we're going to hit OK. Format everything as number. adjust the width of the cells, come down here, and then I'm going to remove my second set of the 95th percent confidence interval. And here's our outcome. So basically, the intercept is 1,998, meaning in week 0, that's what the sales would have been. And our coefficient on week is 96.84, meaning with each additional week, sales are increasing on average 96.84. The p-values of both are 0, so these are statistically significant. We can conclude that there is a linear relationship between week and sales. The nice piece that we have below here is that when you ask for the residual output, it gives you our observations. These are our weeks. And then predicted sales, this is essentially the historical forecast, right? It's what our forecast would have been had we used this method going past. And then here are the residuals. So I'm going to zoom out for a second and come on over here. Let me move my little chart. But if I wanted to look and create the historical forecast, well, I'm jumping ahead of myself because estimate and interpret the linear trend model for the sale of chef design meals, check. Forecast the sale of chef design meals for the next 4 weeks. Why don't we do that? So I have come down into rows 54 through 57, and I've kind of come out here and I've made everything red. And then I would like to create a forecast. What do I think sales are going to be the next handful of weeks? And actually, for a strange reason that will seem less strange in a few minutes, I'm going to place these over here, 2 columns out. Odd, don't mind me. So if I want to forecast sales in week 53, I'm going to use this linear regression model. I'm going to use these coefficients. So if we use the formula y equals mx plus b, our slope is m, I'm going to use absolute reference, multiplied by x, x in this case is time, without an absolute reference, plus b, the intercept, with an absolute reference. So, week 53, sales forecasted at 7,130, and I will scroll that all the way down. So I've got sales forecasted for the next 4 periods. There they are. Let's put them in whole numbers, and let's make them red. Okay, that's our forecast. Boom, forecast the sale of chef design meals for the next 4 weeks. And now D, add the historical forecast and the forecasted sales to the chart we made in part A. Aha. Well, we could take these values and we could use this type of formula to calculate our historical forecast. But when we ask for residuals, Excel gives us the historical forecast. And when we get big formulas, like say we've got 12 dummy variables or 11 because we're looking at months, having this historical forecast is a great way to double check that we're right. So here we go, historical forecast, right? This is our predicted Y. This is the forecast. It is what sales would be in week 1 if they were predicted by this model. Dragging stuff around. All right, so how do we add the historical forecast and our actual forecast to this chart. Like we did in class, we right-click and we select data. Our first series is sales, and we're going to add another series, and this is going to be historical forecast. And our Y values are here. And then we're going to add another set that is projected sales. And those Y values are this entire column. Why? Because if we don't use all these blanks, it'll place those in week 1. And then I'm going to say, okay. So now I've got my historical forecast in orange and then my projected sales in gray. Let's add the term projected sales here. And then let's add a legend. Place it at the bottom. So now we can see sales, the historical forecast, and the projected sales. I'm just going to adjust this line a little bit, format data series. Again, bucket, line, let's make it smaller. Let's go to the marker. Let's find our marker options and let's make it smaller. And then let's take these. I want to do the whole series. Oh, let's see if it's going to let me. Format data point. Oh, I want to do them all, but it isn't letting me. And so for the moment, I'm going to let that be. We can mess with that later if we want, or figure out a way. I'll try one more time. Just one point. I want it to light them all up, but it doesn't want to. Oh well, we're going to leave it. Okay, great. And so that's the full deal. We've got the historical value of sales plus the forecast, and then we've got projected sales in the future. And just a good thing to note here is that because it's a linear regression forecast, and it's y equals mx plus b, right? We've got a line here that's our forecast, and all the forecasted points are on the line. All right, there you go. Have fun.